Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's lesson here at our academy. Today we are going to discuss how forgiveness can heal generations of pain. You know, there is a saying that the wounds of the past can continue to bleed if we keep them open. And in this context, we're not just talking about personal wounds, but also the wounds that have been passed down from one generation to the next. This is why it is so important for us to learn how to forgive, not only for our own sake, but also for the sake of our future generations. We live in a world where there is a lot of hurt and anger. We see conflict and violence all around us, and it seems like people are becoming more and more divided. It is easy for us to get caught up in this negativity and allow it to consume us. However, if we want to break the cycle of pain and create a better future for ourselves and our children, then we must learn how to forgive. The first step to healing generations of pain is to acknowledge the pain that has been passed down to us. This can be difficult because sometimes we don't even know what we are carrying with us. We may have been wounded in the past and not even realized it, or we may be carrying the wounds of our ancestors without knowing why. However, it is important that we take the time to explore our emotions and try to understand where they are coming from. When we do this, we will begin to see the patterns of behavior that have been passed down to us, and we will begin to understand how they are affecting our lives. Once we have acknowledged the pain that has been passed down to us, we can begin to take steps to heal. The most important step we can take is to forgive. Forgiveness is not easy, but it is essential if we want to break the cycle of pain. When we forgive, we are not excusing or condoning the actions of those who have hurt us. We are simply releasing the anger and resentment that we are carrying around. This is important because anger and resentment are toxic emotions that can eat away at us over time. When we let go of these emotions, we are freeing ourselves from the burden of the past. There are many benefits to forgiveness. When we forgive, we are able to move forward in our lives without the baggage of the past holding us back. We are able to create new memories and start fresh. Forgiveness also allows us to break the cycle of pain and create a better future for ourselves and our children. When we hold on to anger and resentment, we are perpetuating the cycle of pain. Our children will see us angry and resentful, and they will think that this is how we deal with conflict. If we want our children to grow up knowing how to forgive, then we need to be role models for them. Forgiveness doesn't just benefit us as individuals, but it also benefits society as a whole. When we forgive, we are creating more peace in the world. We are contributing to a better future for everyone. As Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. When we choose to respond to violence with violence, we are only creating more violence. But when we choose to respond to violence with love and forgiveness, we are creating a ripple effect that can change the world. I would like to share with you a story that illustrates the power of forgiveness. In 1965, 4 young men robbed a gas station in Mississippi. One of the men was white and the other 3 were black. The white man was sentenced to death by the all-white jury, and the 3 black men were sentenced to life in prison. 20 years later, the white man was released from prison because his sentence was commuted by the governor. He could have easily spent the rest of his life bitter and angry over the fact that his 3 friends were still in prison. But instead, he chose to forgive. He started a campaign to pardon his friends, and after 5 years of hard work, his friends were finally released. This man did not hold on to his anger and resentment. Instead, he chose to forgive, and in doing so, he changed the lives of not only himself but also his 3 friends. Another great example of forgiveness is the story of Nelson Mandela. Mandela was in prison for 27 years for his opposition to apartheid in South Africa. During his time in prison, he was tortured and his family was harassed by the government, but he never gave up hope. He knew that forgiveness was the only way to end the cycle of violence and hatred. When he was finally released from prison, he could have easily used his platform to promote revenge and retribution, but instead, he chose to forgive. He said, "As I walked out the door, I knew that the only way to make sense of the bitterness and the hatred and the anger and the frustration of 27 years in prison was to try and make something good out of it. It was the only way to honor the sacrifices of so many people." His forgiveness helped to bring about the end of apartheid and the beginning of a new era of peace and reconciliation in South Africa. You may be thinking, that's all well and good, but how can I forgive someone who has done something terrible to me? The truth is that anyone can be forgiven, no matter what they have done. We all make mistakes, and we all have the capacity for good and evil. When someone does something terrible to us, it is easy to become consumed with anger and resentment. But this is not healthy for us. We must remember that everyone is on their own journey, and we do not know what led them to do what they did. Everyone is a product of their environment and their past experiences. We must also remember that everyone can change. People are not defined by their worst moments. They are defined by the choices they make in life. Everyone has the capacity for good, no matter how bad they have been in the past. This is why we must always try to see the good in people and forgive them. Forgiveness is not just a nice thing to do, it is a necessary thing to do. If we want to break the cycle of violence and hatred in this world, then we must learn how to forgive. It is not easy, but it is possible, and it is worth it. Let us now look at some of the obstacles that prevent us from forgiving. Sometimes we may not even realize that we are carrying around pain from the past. We may have been hurt so badly that we have blocked it out of our minds. Other times we may know that we are carrying around pain, but we are afraid to acknowledge it. We may be afraid to face the pain, but by avoiding it, we are only allowing it to grow. There are also times when we know that we are carrying around pain and we do not want to let it go. We may think that we have a right to be angry or resentful, and in some cases, we may even enjoy the negative feelings. This is because they give us a sense of identity. If we are constantly talking about how we have been wronged, then it is easy to forget who we are when we are not talking about the negative things that have happened to us. It is important to remember that everyone makes mistakes, including ourselves. We are all human and we are all imperfect. When someone does something wrong, it does not mean that they are a bad person. It means that they made a mistake. We must try to understand the other person's point of view. Why did they do what they did? What were their intentions? By trying to understand the other person, we will begin to see them as a human being just like ourselves. This will make it easier for us to forgive them. In order to forgive, we must first have the willingness to forgive. This means that we must be open to the possibility that the other person may not have meant to hurt us. We must also be willing to let go of our negative feelings. This is not easy, but it is possible. We must remember that we are in control of our own happiness. No one else can control it for us. This means that we have the power to choose how we react to the situation. We can choose to be angry and resentful, or we can choose to forgive. The choice is ours. To make the process of forgiveness easier, we can follow these 4 steps. Step 1. Pray for strength. Prayer can help us to focus on the bigger picture. It can remind us that we are not alone in this. God is with us and He wants us to be happy. Step 2. Make a list of the things that you are grateful for. Gratitude is a powerful emotion. When we are grateful for the good things in our lives, it is hard to be negative. Step 3. Write down the names of the people who have hurt you. Writing down the names helps us to personalize the situation. It reminds us that these people are real human beings just like ourselves. Step 4. Forgive. This is the hardest step, but it is also the most important. When we forgive, we are setting ourselves free. We are breaking the cycle of negativity and opening ourselves up to the possibility of happiness. Forgiveness is not something that we are taught in school, but it is one of the most important skills that we can learn. It is a skill that can change our lives and the lives of our children for the better. So let us all strive to be forgivers. Let us all learn how to forgive and set each other free. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you have learned something new and that you will use this knowledge to make the world a better place. Until next time, may God bless you and keep you in His love.